Hey, hey, I got a thumbs up. Who's on here? I'm just coming back. I overslept. I didn't even I made it to one store, but the other ones I didn't get to make. Cause one it was going on almost 11 o'clock. Yeah, it was going on almost 11 o'clock, and then I got a phone call, so I was chit chatting. So what's this? Let me see here. Thursday. Oh, okay. The other two assignments, I see that it's due tomorrow, the 13th. So yeah, I didn't miss anything. I know one of them I need to redo again, but I just went up to the Kroger's. I overslept. When I woke up, it was like 9:30 ish, and then I went up to Kroger to do one of the stores, and then I checked again, and I saw that the project that I was supposed to do early tomorrow morning that's been canceled. Hey, D nuts, and they said they'll contact me tomorrow morning, and if they want me to do that reset at Sprouts, because they said they had too many people, and then if they need additional people, then they'll pay me an extra $20. But who knows? That's what happens. But whatever. There's always things to do. And then, like I said, I have more than one company that I could do these um, merchandising with. This is just one company that I've been working with, but there's so many other ones, and Observer is another one. So I have a lot of assignments with them, and then there's some other ones called The Source. Hey, Sally. I was wondering, I said, when is anybody going to come on? It's 12:07 a.m. after midnight. Um, I was on here earlier, a few hours ago. So I said I had to do a couple of stories, but I'd only end up doing one because it was already close to 11 o'clock. And just came back home. And I just got off the phone talking to Shelly Shell. So we were talking for a minute. Oh, okay, you did see it. What the hell? See, that's what I need to close these windows. I'm so glad it's starting to get a little bit cool. I need to close these windows. Get all kind of critters be flying through this window. Yeah. You saw it earlier, I'm telling y'all. But the IRS with the delays, and also the stop of unemployment. What's this thing here? Democrats confront numerous hurdles as they work to advance 3.5 trillion economic package. What they talking about? Let me see what they do. They might be talking about the infrastructure bill, but I know they ain't talking about. Let me see. House Democrats are set to begin writing significant swatch of their 3.5 trillion tax and spending plan on Thursday, even as a new political issues among their ranks threaten to compliance past the passage. Hmm. I don't know. All this money being spent and hmm, hit pause. See, stuff like this be getting people like Trump in office because I'm gonna be honest with y'all. When I worked with federal government, when the Republicans were in office, I got the biggest raise. We got the biggest perks ever when the Republicans were in office. Democrats, I mean, I understand people want to talk about, oh, we want to get more money for health care. We want to get more for affordable housing. We want to do this. We want to do that. And they pushing all this agenda of all this, because this is, I'm not on YouTube live. So, hmm, you know, anything you write is going to be held for review. But yeah, but all this um things that Democrats are doing, it seems appealing to the ears when you speak about we want to give more money for Medicare, we want to give more for affordable housing, we want to do for child care, we want to give for this, that, or whatever, but I haven't seen it in fruition, really. I mean, they give you a little stimulus check, oh, everybody 1,400, 2,000, this, that, whatever. But to be honest, I don't really see anything that benefits people. You give a couple, yeah, you give about a $1,400 stimulus for single, and 4,000 for a family, and 6,000, and this. It's like, what good is it? What good is it if it costs $16 for bacon, or inflation? That little bit of money. No, you can't. No, you cannot, Sally. You cannot use another stimulus because what did the last stimulus check do? To be honest, what did it do? Other than it's a good little bit of money to buy whatever, And what, for $1,400? Yeah, that pay what, a bill, a bill here and there, or you got stock with yours. Not the whole thing, these nuts. You could buy a couple stocks here and there, but you know, I don't see it. I mean, that little they trickle down that little bit of money. I mean, if you had a family of four and they say, okay, here you go, here's $4,000, that ain't really gonna help. I mean, they'll pay a couple of bills for a couple months here and there, but other than that, it don't really do much of nothing. I mean, I say no better is better. No money's better than no. I mean, some money's better than no money, but what is it really doing in the long run? Some people spent. I don't know how. I mean, some people they need money and initially to buy things for the kids, and even that child tax credit. Some people got child tax credit and got $3,000-4,000 for 4 months, depending on how number of kids they got. But it doesn't really help in the long run, put it that way. All you're doing is taking that money they give you, putting it right back in the system to make someone else rich. That's all. Price of food and everything going up with groceries and things of that nature. If I break down my budget that I keep track of. I was like, well, god dang, I spent way more money, but making less. Yeah, but what good is if you pay a month rent if you behind? If you already behind, put it this way: if you behind in rent 3, 4 months and you try to catch up, you still behind. You still behind. And then if it pays, okay, yeah, pay a mortgage. Okay, okay, and you say you're not behind. Okay, that money, you get it, it's gone. You get it, it's gone. But if they never had to, if they never gave out no stimulus, it's just like this. It's like this scenario goes. Ain't nobody staying with me, but I was say you gotta stay right at the airport. Atlanta airport is so big, you could literally probably sit there in the airport in the atrium area, and nobody probably even notice if you live there or not. But I'm just saying, it's just like when people say, well, someone needs help, they go to someone and they needed help. What would you have done? People say, well, what you did if no one helped you? You would find a way, trust me. If they wasn't giving out money to people with all this stimulus money and stuff, what would people have done? Hey, Shelly just got off the phone. I thought, what if people would have done? What would you have done if they didn't give out no stimulus? If they didn't if this stimulus package was never given out, never, no rent moratorium, no stimulus, hmm. And they had no stimulus, they had nothing of the sort. What would people have done? People still they would have found a way. Trust me, people would have found a way to with their problem to alleviate their problem. They would have found a way. So look at it like that. If there was no stimulus, if there was no stimulus and there was nothing, there was no CARES Act, no nothing, people would have found a way to get by, regardless. You know, prior to this coronavirus, prior to them giving out any stimulus, prior to them giving out all this money, what did people do prior to that? They worked gig jobs. They were doing Uber Eats, Grubhub, all 4 apps running at the same time. People were working 10, 12 hours a day to get by. And people were doing those things. People were doing, Task Rapid and, you know, doing pizza deliveries, working at Domino's. I mean, that's what I was doing prior to all this. I was working Domino's. I was working from home. I wasn't even doing these merchandising gigs when I was doing the gig jobs. I was doing Instacart. I was doing all these kind of different apps to make money. Wake up in the morning, come home 11, 12, midnight. I probably be driving up right now after working. You didn't have to have a car. You didn't have to have no car. And put it this way, if you don't have a car, that's one less expense that you have to worry about. You ain't had to have no car note. You ain't had to pay no gas. You ain't had to pay no electricity. I mean, you ain't had to pay no gas, electric, insurance. So if you didn't have a car, depending on where you lived, and you had some kind of job, everybody didn't have to have no. I never had no car. When I moved to Atlanta, I ain't had no car. I lived right in the city. Took the bus. Took MARTA. Went to one. So the point that I'm making is, you would have done whatever you had to do. I ain't had no car. I lived in the city. They had public transportation, and I took MARTA took the bus, took the train, and if it took half my day, 3 hours or 4 hours or hours just to get to and from home, and taking buses to the train, to the bus, back to the train just to get home, or walked, you know, if the bus stopped running a certain night, I said, well, shoot, I walked. I used to live right off of Moreland Avenue. I used to walk all down Moreland Avenue. We ain't talking about doing no Instacart or no bus. You know what I'm talking about, D-Nuts. Don't act special. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We're not talking about Instacart doing Instacart. I'm talking about if you, even if you didn't have a car, you still had a job to go to. Either if you had to walk to the nearest McDonald's, Burger King, choose any restaurant. You had to walk. People, if you ain't had no car, you walked. When I didn't have no car, and there was no such thing as Uber, I took public transportation to work, whether it be at the mall. What I'm saying is that even if you had a job, people still had a job, and they had to either walk, take the bus, or do whatever. I ain't had no car. Even when I lived in New York, I used to walk, take public transportation, walked, whatever I had to do. When I lived in South Carolina, when I lived in Columbia, they had public transportation, but it was a certain point where I had to walk a good mile, 2 miles, just to go home and walk. Got off that bus, or if I lived, and I had to work. I remember walking, and I walked even when I moved to Atlanta. I lived up there in Marietta. Sundays there was no bus. I walked from my apartment all the way to the Kroger's. I used to work at Kroger's years ago. I forgot I worked at Kroger's at one time. And I used to walk. It used to be an hour for me to get there. I walked right down that. I walked all the way from Franklin Road all the way down to Cobb Parkway, going near the Vinings, and that was a distance. And I walked back and forth. They ain't had no MARTA. They ain't had no MARTA at the time that ran on Sundays. They didn't have no bus run on Sundays. So I had to walk. They ain't had no Uber, no Lyft. So I walked, hit my 2 feet and walked. And, and it was some points they ain't had no sidewalks. So I don't, and I was in health. I did more walking through years. That's how I really kept my weight down. I wasn't really big as a child. To be honest, if I didn't have no car, if I didn't have no car, I would walk from where I live, and I would walk probably 4 or 5 miles to the nearest bus. Now, this part of Rockbridge Road, it'd be nice, but there's a certain part it's kind of sketchy. But I see a lot of people walking when I be driving and stuff, and I see people walking because there's certain places in Atlanta, Metro Atlanta, and the outskirts. There's no bus, and I see people walking or taking a bike. They be on a bicycle. Yeah, there's Uber, there's Lyft, but I'm not spending all my money on no Uber, no Lyft all the time. No. If you could walk 2-3 miles, you have people do what they have to do. See, what it is some people are lazy. Some people are just plumb ass lazy. As long as I got 2 feet to walk on, I'll walk. And trust me. Now I can't walk to Amazon on Brazelton because that's 38 miles. But if I got to the point where I will always work someplace where it's convenient. If I ain't had no car, I would either work from home, do what I need to do. If I ain't had no car right now, and I wanted to go groceries and buy, I would do Amazon deliver groceries, and then even at certain points, I'll walk to the Publix. There's a Publix right up the street from my house. There's only a mile. Let me see. Walk out the subdivision, walk down the probably maybe a mile. I don't even think it's a mile. It's less than a mile. I sure would. I would have me a little shopping cart, and I would be walking. I'll walk. I'll walk. But like I said, you know, you don't have to do the gig jobs, but trust me, I will go to a nearest place wherever they hiring. I say, oh, they hiring. I'll go right around there and work. Now I wouldn't work at Amazon up the street from my house because after all that walking and standing up and all that stuff, that would be being tired walking and being on your feet for 10, 12 hours. Then to walk home, that may be a little bit too much. But you know, but you could do DoorDash. They don't you don't have no car, you don't have to have no car to do no DoorDash. I've seen people do DoorDash on a bicycle because Terry Tips, he does. I don't know. Hey, I haven't seen any videos of him lately. He was doing DoorDash on a bike and Uber Eats on a bike. Right there in Midtown, in the more in the city of Atlanta, and he was doing it. He was on it was an electric bike, and electric bikes is you can get an electric bike for 3, 4 thousand, maybe a little bit more than that. I don't know because the price has gone up tremendously. But they got those electric bikes. I sure would not bike like that. I'm talking about like a commuter bike. I sure would. I would have me a helmet and I'll be on a bicycle. Now I know me and Shelly, you just talked about bicycle lanes in our conversation, but shoot, a lot of people can't afford no cars, and a lot of people ain't trying to buy no cars. And the way they talking about the manufacture of cars, they stopped making. They said they stopped the F50, 150, and some of these one of those plants. They said this week they were stopping making certain vehicles because they don't have the parts. They talking about 2023 before they get any kind of parts. And the sale of cars has not been that great. So the way how they cutting credit and money is being real tight. See, I bought that SUV. I drove it today when I did my 2 stores today. And I came back home. I bought me some oil for the Toyota Corolla. And then I went up to the Kroger and went and drove the Toyota because I was like, I already used a quarter of a tank of gas. I was like, oops. This gas thing said I supposed to have 300 and something miles, 348, and then it was like 280 something. But but I have to ration. I'm not trying to run down no car down to the ground because if it needs to be replaced or parts or you know whatever, I get one free oil change. I'm gonna take that Nissan and get the oil change at the car dealership because they owe me a free oil change when I purchased it. And after that, I need to, I don't know how much it costs for oil change, but I think these places talking about 60 something dollars for oil change. I was like, what happened to the 1999 deals? Everything going up, not that much. My goodness. I'm trying to look for a Groupon and see if I can find at least maybe $30, but that's a lot. This was what was that? Synthetic oil? I don't know what the hell. I'm thinking there was a place I should have went and bought the other oil that comes with the filter. It was $28. But shoot, I probably could change my own oil, at least for the Corolla. I don't know about the Nissan. But if I had me a little thing to go under the car, all you need is just to take the loose the nut for the filter, put another filter in there, and then put more oil from the top. So I did put oil from the top, but not change the filter because I don't have somewhere to go under the car unless I go under it myself. But that might be a little bit tight. I need to elevate it up. But I saw somebody on YouTube, this white lady, she was changing her own oil, but she's cheap. She's millionaire prepper. Well, no, not millionaire prepper. Prepper. Somebody, I can't remember what her name was. Put it this way, she looks like she's older. She says she's 40, but she looks like I don't know. I think it's her hairstyle makes her look way older than she says she is. But, she don't look her age. But she lives up there in Arizona with a dog, and she used to live in San Francisco when her mother passed, and then she moved into a real cheap house somewhere out in Arizona with a paid off house, real cheap. And she speaks about save. She budgets for everything. She don't have no cable. She real frugal in terms of spending, but she invests. She works somewhere, but she won't tell you where she works. But she's worth millions. She says she's a millionaire, and she speaks about budgeting, and she don't spend a lot of money on things. She preps in terms of food, and she changed her own oil in her car. She drives an old Toyota that looks new. Um, she lives in a real small house, not no tiny house. She's not a tiny house, but she speaks about money and saving, and she even got an ebook on Amazon. I just can't remember her channel, but I watch her, and she's debt free. She don't have no debts of any sort. She says, so it was interesting. What? Stock market went down like that? Let me look at my little investments today. See what's going on. Let me see. Cash app. $289.39. Dang it. I lost $4.10. That ain't bad. 1.39% it went down. Yeah, that ain't nothing. Bitcoin, $24.33. I didn't buy that much of Bitcoin. I bought some Bitcoin earlier, then I sold it. Then I bought $25 worth of Bitcoin again. But I'm not trying to put all that money in. I ain't trying to spend that much money in no Bitcoin. Bitcoin is 46,116.25. It went down 1.35. See, now remember I went Cole is that because he'd be the main one to buy. Yeah, I made that when I first started investing early in this year. I bought those silver coins, and then I bought some stocks. So from the time that I had put in that, I had bought these through increments. I didn't do like thousands of dollars. I did like $25, $50, and then I invested $230.20, but I gained $59.19. So it's going to go up and down, but that's what I've been doing with that. So it's gone up, but it's gone down a little bit. So when they say, oh, the NASDAQ, S&P 500, they talking about the first 500 stocks. They're not talking about every single stock has gone down to that point, So I bought Tesla, S&P 500, S&P Gold Trust, C3, which is the AI, artificial intelligence, Plug Power. So all of them went down to like 48 cents, 25 cent, 12 cent, 3 cent, 2 cent, but overall, I've gained $59.19. So I'll keep it up for a while, and that's what that looks like. I bought that on the Cash App platform. So, and then I bought Robinhood. Robinhood went public about a month ago. I bought it the second week or the beginning of the second week. What's this dang account deficit talking about? I'm not doing no. I need to contact it. So I bought. They've gone down. Oh goodness, $6.43. Agent that free one share they gave me for free. $9.57 GoPro. I bought 4.92 shares of that, and then Bank of America, which was $40.76. Let me show y'all. This is what it looks like on Robinhood. Everything you see in the red, that's went down today. Everything you see in the green, that's went up a little bit. So, I had $150. So I only lost, $2 and some change. But that's the way how the market goes. You can't really guess who's going to get what and what's going to happen with any of these. You could never outguess who's going to make what or whatever. You just have to look at it like when the market goes down, it goes cheap. You'll be able to buy a little bit more shares, and it goes in, cycles. It may go up because, we're not going to be in this economic downfall forever, in terms of, how the economy goes. It depends who you listen to. Some big people, YouTube channels, they like, oh, it's a fake market. Got to collapse. Everybody's saying the same old story. We're going to be in a collapse. Everything's going to be like depression. Most money is made during times like this. So when you hear say Wall Street is making money, Wall Street, and they not helping people, we need more stimulus and this and that or whatever. All you got to do is invest just a little bit. You ain't got to put a whole lot of money in the market. You just diversify. And if Wall Street's making money, as they say, and Main Street ain't making no money, just go with Wall Street. A little bit of money. That little $100, I got probably total of $300 something worth of investments on these little markets. It makes some money here and there. My thrift plan, which is my retirement plan, I've gained tens of thousands of dollars throughout this market. So, as I reach closer to my age to retire, 50, when you had to take a mandatory withdrawal, I'm not going to lose all $90,000 plus dollars. It's not going to suddenly be like boom down to zero. It ain't, it's going to go up. It's going to go down. Just like my other retirement plans. I have other retirement plans. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. In all the years and centuries and decades of the stock market, things have gone down. It may have been one point where everybody was like, ding, ding, ding. The stock market went so crazy. But the next day, it just went shoot right back up. People got on nerve. It was back in 1987. I was like, I don't remember what happened then. But I know year 2000, when they had that last collapse, not the last collapse, but when they had all these banking firms, Shearson Lehman, I used to work for them years ago when I was in my 20s on Wall Street. I worked on Wall Street. That's another part of my life. I used to work on Wall Street. I was young, 18, 19, 20, 21. Bank of America, not Bank of America, Bank of New York and Shearson Lehman. And I worked at Ernst & Young. It used to be Anderson, one of the accounting firms. And a lot of those companies ain't making Bear Stearns and Shearson Lehman. You don't hear those companies went gloop because now how they went under and what happened. Most of it was probably a lot of fraud going on with those companies, insider trading. A lot of people lost their money with Bernie Madoff scam. People, in the 80s, if you grew up in the 80s, like I guess I'll be an 80s baby. And people were spending money like it was nothing. And, you know, those movies you've seen with Wall Street and people just, they were being greedy. A lot of corruption and stuff. And when things took a hit, a lot of those people at that time lost their jobs. They took a hit, and that's how they started doing all these regulations and stuff. You know, even Trump. Trump was a Democrat. Trump, his daddy and stuff with all that corruption in real estate in New York. He lost a whole lot of money. That's why he didn't want to show no tax returns. You know, not because people say, "Oh, you're not really a billionaire as you said you were." Who cares? Who cares whether or not he's a billionaire or not? The fact of the matter is this: but someone who ain't, but someone they say they ain't got no money, look what he got: Trump Towers and jets and everything else. Let me tell you. See, that's what you have to follow. I ain't say follow what Trump doing, but follow when they say Wall Street making money and stuff. They always gonna look out for big corporations, lobbyists, people of that interest. That's why I say ain't gonna be no stimulus. They always gonna. It's always it ain't got nothing to do with the people voting. Oh, they didn't care. It's who financing those campaigns. That's the one that matters. That's the one that pulls the strings. People who giving these monies to these politicians. So, you know, so I wouldn't be so they'll trickle down a little bit of money to people, whatever they need, they'll trickle down. But you got to look at it from a business point of view. They want to build something in neighborhoods and communities. Look at it in terms of who's really behind it. Like that Amazon up the street from my house. Amazon about to build a few other distribution centers throughout Atlanta and a whole bunch of other cities. So when all these businesses and malls and stuff go out of business or under, shoe, all they need is a one big company like Amazon to come in there, take up the whole entire commercial space, build a distribution center, whether it be for groceries, whether it be for whatever, a facility center, distribution. Because there's a difference between facilities centers, fulfillment centers rather, and distribution centers that process orders. And I'm gonna tell you, Amazon ain't the only one that's gonna probably be in the mix, because Walmart is gonna be there too. Walmart is starting to ship items to people's homes and stores. After a while, there'll be some Walmart. I won't be surprised if there will be a Walmart distribution centers built up just like Amazon. It's only so much a store could process. Everything goes to a store, yes. But if these trucking, think about it. If they can't find drivers to ship these stuff all across the country, then all you have to do is to fix the logistics. Is one, you're gonna have automated trucks, automatic drivers. You still gonna have a driver, but when you have automation and you want to process items and ship things, because this country is built on trade. It's always been built. Every country in the world, from the beginning of the world, is about trade. If you, long as you get your product to and fro, whether it comes from China, Vietnam, Philippines, California, going to Georgia or whatever, everything is built on transportation. So when they do this infrastructure, you know, bill or passed it, and they want to build, a whole new world of I don't know how the world's gonna be. I ain't gonna be here. We ain't gonna be here 25 years. Let me see. I'll be what? 25, 78, almost 80, maybe. Let's say 30 years. This will make the math easier. 30 years from now, and I'm already 50. So that means at 80 something years old, my mother probably be, not probably, my mother be passed away, my grandparents be passed, God willing, if they live to be 100. It ain't that, if we live to be 100, the way how the world's going to look, even say 20 years from now, it ain't going to be the same. The cities, every place you live, it ain't going to be the same. Places are not going to be the same. Things are going to be very, I don't know. I don't know if I can't say it's going to be flying planes and flying cars or nothing, but it's not going to be the same thing. Cities are not going to look the same. Towns ain't going to look the same. Things are going to be very modern. And I think that's why it's important to look at the type of, if like me, I still got good 20, 16, 15 years of working life. So I have to put myself into a position of learning something brand new, learning something, because it ain't gonna be jobs that people think jobs are gonna be there. Restaurants, people working. It ain't gonna be those menial manual labor type of jobs. Not for long. I mean, it's gonna be there, but not really. People talking about, oh, they need to pay $15 an hour. I was like, okay, $15 an hour, then what? But the prices, inflation is $15 ain't gonna really do much of nothing. You still gonna have to do some other stuff. You're gonna still have to come up with some new gigs. You still have to come up with maintaining. That's why I don't believe they gonna raise minimum wage to $15 an hour, because one, not for no fast food, not for no restaurant. They got so many ways. These fast food places, they gonna change how they gonna manage and how they gonna do service. You know, you go to a McDonald's and stuff, you could place your own order. All you need is a couple. All you need is a few people, very few people, just to prepare it. But other than that, they were saying how robots and stuff could make food and serve it and everything. Ain't gonna be people doing that. I really believe it's gonna be like that. Remember that Jetsons? Remember Rosie? She was the computer. She was the maid, but Rosie did everything. She was the cleaner. She house cleaned and vacuum. They got vacuum cleaners that could vacuum by itself. That's not so far fetched from when you look at the Jetsons and the cartoon, and Rosie was like, okay, what do you want for dinner? And they came up and popped up with their instant meals. They got that now. Meals that could last for 30 years. And you just pop something in the water or pop it up as instant food. They got, remember that? If y'all remember, look at those cartoons. Look at the Jetsons and stuff. Just the Jetsons cartoon alone. How they was, instant food and all that. I was like, I'm going to see if I could find one of those, if they still, show the Jetsons, and just look at that cartoon and just kind of go back and like, oh my goodness, they've been doing stuff like that now. That Tesla guy and the Bezos, they've been so futuristic in their um, futuristic and making cars and all that stuff. And they had this, that's all that is. Analytics, algorithms, all this data they collecting is so they could create new technologies, even the simplest of things they do. And I may not see flying cars in my lifetime. I may see it in my lifetime. I might, you know, they was who they never thought it was gonna be a black president, but look what happened. We had a black president. You know, you ain't never seen that. That wasn't gonna happen. And you see how those people going crazy when he was president 2 terms. He said he ran for 3 terms, he would have won still. And I believe it. President Obama ran for the 3rd term. If he was allowed to, he would have won 3 times. Trust and believe. Despite what those white folks or some of these people who, oh no, you know, we ain't saw a black president coming, but what happened? What we did got one. We did get one, and we may see a woman president. Maybe not anytime soon. I don't think Kamala would be. I don't think she even wants to be president. To be honest, I think she ain't gonna be president, and I don't know what's gonna happen 4 years from now. I know Trump ain't coming back. Ain't no way in hell he coming back. People be thinking, they little Trumpites or whatever, but he ain't coming back. Trump don't even want to be president himself because number one, he ain't gonna have the control. You think they're gonna give him the control? Y'all sit there and keep drinking the Kool-Aid. If they think that's gonna happen, they ain't gonna choose. He ain't coming back. He ain't gonna be no president. I'm sorry, that ain't gonna happen. And that one from Florida, he ain't gonna be it either. He ain't gonna be it either. I could assure you that one. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. So we ain't no point even dreaming and thinking Trump coming back. How old is he now? How old is he? 70 something? Nope, he ain't gonna be it. We'll find out. And I would say in not this year, but say the 3rd year of Biden term, they're gonna choose. They're gonna be someone that's gonna come up in the forefront. That whoever you hear more of, that's what they're gonna do. Now, unless some miraculous thing happen with Biden and the economy turns around for everyone, then he may come back a 2nd term, but ain't gonna be no Trump. I'm sorry, that ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. I don't know who it's gonna be, but if Biden doesn't come forward, Kamala, she ain't gonna be it. I don't think she even wants to be president. And I don't think she's gonna run. I don't think so. I don't think that's gonna happen. But it's not about the president. This next term around, it ain't gonna be about who's president. That ain't gonna be it. This infrastructure bill, if it passed, it's gonna be what the future of this country is gonna look like for the next generation. And I may see a beginning of it. We may see a beginning of it, but it's just gonna be something totally different. And to be at the age, people say you're not that old, you still young, and that may be true, but 25 years, you'd be surprised 25 years will go by quickly. I remember moving to Atlanta, and it's amazing. I've lived here for 20 something years, and who would think it would be this quick? It's almost like a blink of an eye. Years just suddenly come. I remember moving here to Atlanta and lived in town, and a young 23-year-old, moved from South Carolina to Atlanta and saying I wasn't going to live here but 5 years, and I moved to the West Coast, and I ended up living here since 1996. And I remember, young. It was Atlanta wasn't so expensive to live at the time. Um, just walking. I was able to live. I lived in Grant Park and just, took the bus and all these little eclectic things they had in town. Black folks lived in Atlanta, in the city of Atlanta, in Atlanta. How it was just different. It was different. The local people who lived here, they said, "Where you from?" "I'm from here," and there was a little resentment of people coming from New York moving to Atlanta back in the '90s, and it wasn't just people from New York moving to Atlanta, but um, it was a lot. It was a really influx of people at the time that moved from all over, from all different parts of city, all different parts of the country, moved to Atlanta. Atlanta was the shit, and you know, you could go and get a job at Delta and all these places and live comfortably at the time. It wasn't that bad. But now you can't live in the places I used to live at. And I lived in town Atlanta for years. I didn't just move out in the suburbs. It took a while before I moved and moved like initially to Marietta and moved, but other than that, I can't live in the same apartment that I lived in when I lived in Darlington Apartments. Man, that thing is almost 1,600 plus a month in rent. And that was a studio. And that didn't include no utilities or water. You had to pay it. That was extra. You know? Even where I live here now, Stone Mountain. Stone Mountain wasn't all black. Stone Mountain was not all black. Now, there's so many black folks that live here in Atlanta, in DeKalb County. 80%, I want to say 80% is black, but I don't know. I have to look at the census. But they white folks, they moving back. They moving back. I see I'll be looking out the window, and sometimes I be seeing white folks be walking. They moving back because they not, living in town in Atlanta in the city. They looking for land and space. Land and space. So, but I don't know. Like I said, in the next couple of years, even as I plan on what I'm going to do, I don't see myself living here. I'm not going to retire here in Atlanta. I know that. And I think if they don't shut nothing down when I go to South Carolina for the holiday, um, I may just make a trip to go to South Carolina. I've been calling my mother. She ain't been answering the phone. I don't know what she been doing. I was gonna go to. Nah, I don't need to wait for the holidays to come and visit. I want to go down there, visit my sister in Albany, Georgia, and visit. And I don't know why people ain't pick up the phone. But I'm just gonna, we have to plan. I see a lot of these videos about prep for food, prep, but you gotta prep for life, not just prep for food and what's coming up within these coming. You know, People say, "Oh, we're gonna have a long winter." We're gonna have a long life. Put it that way, God willing. You could prep for food and stuff. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. But you have to plan for. Um, you have to plan for beyond just what's gonna happen this winter. You can't plan. You don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but you can at least plan on what goals you would like to do in life. You know. But I just think this is gonna be a whole new world, a whole new ways how things are gonna be, and it's a lot. It's a lot. It is a lot. I could just say that. You know. I'm not gonna go back and forth with people about the virus. I ain't going back and forth about no mask or should you take the shots or whatever. You know, that's up to the choice that people want to do. I just know what I'm gonna do. You know, I was in Lowe's all the way up in Stockbridge, and this white guy he coming up to me, you work here? Do I look like I work here? I said it just like that. Do I look like I work here? I had this zifty shirt on. You asking me, do I work at Lowe's? No, I don't work here. I'm just walking around a shopping cart. And you ask me, do I work here? And then he had all up in my face with no mask on. And I was like, back the hell up. I wanted to tell him back the hell up, but you know, step back. You know, you ain't got no mask on your face and you work here. No, motherfucker, I don't work here. Sometimes you want to curse people out, but I didn't curse them out. I said, do I look like I work here? You all over my face. You know, you have to be cautious. Some people be in your face. They know damn well they know I ain't working no damn Lowe's. All the people walking around with smock on that says Lowe's, you ask me, you work at Lowe's? Motherfucker, no. You see Zifty. Y'all see the shirt? Zifty. Y'all know I used to work at Zifty, that food delivery, that local company here in Atlanta. Hey, DJ. Yeah, do you work here? You work at Lowe's? No, motherfucker, I don't work at no damn Lowe's. Shit. You know? Oof. You gotta be careful. People be all walking up on you. No mask on your face. You gotta be careful. Some people be evil. They be walking up on you on purpose. Shoot. That's why I don't be trying to be all up. I try to keep my distance from people. You know what I'm gonna start going grocery shopping at night. If I decide to go to Kroger's, I want to go to that brand new Kroger's up there, Chambly Tucker. If I'm out and about and I know I'm going grocery shopping, I'm gonna start doing my grocery shopping right at night. Right at night when ain't nobody in there. I mean, Aldi's closed early, but if I was gonna do grocery shopping, I'm starting to do my grocery shopping at nighttime. Right up there. I don't shop at Walmart, so you ain't gotta worry about me going to Walmart. But Kroger, that brand new one, in Chambly Tucker. Now I know they close. I think they close at midnight now. DJ, what time Kroger close? Midnight, 1 o'clock. I want to say midnight. Yep. I'm gonna go stop shopping at nighttime when there's nobody hardly in there. Because most people, when I went to Kroger to do my survey thing, a lot of people were in there. They had their mask on. Oh, midnight. Yep, that's what I'm gonna start doing. Go grocery shopping at night. That way, it'd be nobody up in there. I could just go in there, take my time. You know, not be all with people, be all up in your face. I ain't gotta, nope. I ain't gotta worry about no lines. Only time there be a line is when the people do self checkout. But other than that, it won't be as bad. I saw some people in there yet today. They was in the grocery store, but it was still around 10ish. It was still around 10ish, but it wasn't as bad. Not the new Kroger. I'm talking about the one closer to my house on Rockbridge Road. That one. So, but other than that, well, I've been on here for an hour. And my assignment for survey for the resets at Sprouts was canceled. So, oh well. They'll probably call me tomorrow morning and said, can you still go to the store? And if they ask me, they're going to give me an extra $20. So it'll be $140. But we'll see what happens. Ain't no big deal. At least now I know that if they have some assignments in the future, I could ask them to put me on the list and do the resets. But there's so many other companies that do it. I'm not going to worry about one. There's so many other things I could do. So, anywho, there's 6 of y'all in here. Who else is in here? Sally, what you doing? You ain't saying nothing. I hope I didn't say nothing mean about the stimulus. But I'm telling you, I didn't meant to be mean. I know a lot of people are hardship with monies and stuff, but I can't put all my stuff in no I can't put all my I can't rate on those stimulus because I can barely get unemployment, and I supposed to get unemployment too. Oh, I'm supposed to get that bonus from Amazon, so I can't rely on these companies for doing nothing, whether it be state, federal, or private companies when it comes to getting extra money. Shoot, people they just they use that excuse for everything. Oh, due to the coronavirus, we can't do this. They blame on virus for everything. I didn't get my bonus. Well, due to coronavirus, they make up excuse for everything. Everything with this technology, you can't get a hold of nobody. We gonna put a ticket in. Everybody want to pass the buck, pass the issue to someone else. You gotta stay on people's neck. You gotta stay on people's neck these days to do anything. So, but yeah, I'm gonna start doing my little grocery shopping, stockpiling. I don't know if Kroger has they got their 5 for 5 sale or sales, because sometimes you have to watch some of these stores when it comes to sales. But I was watching people videos today about they went a few people videos. I don't know why everybody doing videos at the Walmart. Look at the Walmart, it's empty. It's nothing on the shelves. Walmart ain't no big. Walmart may be a big company in regards to items, but Walmart ain't the biggest when it comes to groceries and food. Even Amazon ain't that big when it comes to groceries and food. So I don't know why people are in the Walmart showing empty shelves and all that stuff. I don't understand it. It don't make no sense to me. Because you could be going there and they would say, look at this, it's getting bad, y'all. There's all these empty shelves. Y'all don't even know if the truck came yet. Y'all don't know if the truck come on Thursday. Y'all in there Monday, Tuesday, telling them, look at this, y'all, it's empty. I know there's a shortage, don't get me wrong. There is a logistics or supply chain issues. But, you know, prices are high. Shelves ain't being barren because they ain't got nothing. It's just the fact the truck didn't come. And you just have to wait till the truck comes, and then when the truck comes, they'll put it out. But I know one thing I notice a difference is items are being shrinkage, but the prices is high in the same. I was like, wait a minute. What I was looking at today. I picked it up and I was like, why this thing smaller than it used to be? Pick anything, cereal. I was like, look at this. This thing, they went from um having it from say 12 ounces to now 10 ounces, but at a higher price. I was like, this thing used to be bigger than this. What happened to the. And then I made a comment today on somebody's channel about um, if you buy more healthier food items, less box stuff, less prepackaged, and you start eating more dense nutrition food like vegetables, fruit, even though they do spray chemicals, all those things, but you start eating more, even if you get frozen vegetables, because every vegetable is starts from the ground. It's fresh. The only difference is either one, they put it, they ship it and you get it fresh. You just have to eat it quicker versus packaging and it's frozen, then you could keep it longer. But it's the same kale. If it's kale, it's still fresh kale. It's just the difference is you just eating it fresh. You just have to eat it within 2 days versus it being frozen and packaged. You could save it for a little bit longer, but it all comes from the same source. It's still fresh vegetables. It's just one is fresh, one is frozen to keep the freshness in, and one is fresh that you have to eat it in 2 days. If you're not going to eat it for 2 days, then just It's no different than you growing it yourself. If I was to have a vegetables of beans and peas, and I had a garden, and I just pick them myself, I would wash them, put them in a Ziploc bag, buy one of those, things that you could make it, seal it in fresh on that, those little machines, and you put them in the freezer in your own personal freezer. It's the same thing. It's the only difference is you freezing it yourself and you picking it from your own garden and you freezing it and then you just eat it fresh. So if you eat more vegetables and fruit and more healthier foods, you're not eating a lot. If you eat vegetables, fruit, lean meat, whether it be turkey, whatever, pork, or whatever, not a lot of meat, but you feeding yourself dense food, you're healthier. You're not eating, you don't need to be like I know I bought me some Chinese food today. I didn't feel like cooking. So that little Chinese food, I eat it. And then how they say you eat Chinese food, you be hungry 2 hours, 3 hours later because it's not dense. Ain't no vegetables and ain't no fruits that has water, you know. So if you eat more nuts, fruit, vegetables, healthy fats in your diet, and you don't need to eat as much. You don't have to eat all the processed food in boxes. So when I go to the grocery store, going forward, I'm gonna be like when I go to Cab Farmers Market, I'm gonna go tomorrow because I don't want to go on the weekend. So I'm gonna buy me like turkey wings and more lean meats, chicken sausage and stuff like that, because it's and less processed, and then buy more vegetables because I ain't have no vegetable garden, ain't nothing grew. I'm like, God dang it! Now my little herb thing, I started to see peppermint and the little herb stuff I planted a couple weeks ago. I'll show y'all that tomorrow in a video. Um, the processed food started to make me feel sick to my stomach, but yeah, all that processed food and stuff. They say hot dogs, you take 36 seconds away from your life every time you eat hot dogs. And I believe it, it's processed, very processed foods. But that's why I was so looking forward to growing some kind of vegetable garden this year. But I ain't, I was like, okay, this ain't coming out like I thought. But it's probably because I didn't really take care of the soil. I didn't really focus on the soil before I started doing it. That's why I'm amending the soil now. I've been doing a lot of compost, and I got a little section in the yard right now that I'm going to start planting some of the fall garden and plant some of these kale. Not kale. Do I got kale? I know I got kale seeds and maybe collard greens and a couple. I'm going to put it out tomorrow because it's been raining and it's been a very rainy summer. So a lot of the stuff hasn't been doing good because it's been raining a lot. But I'm going to try for the fall. Maybe I'll get some fall crop going in. But I could assure you when I go to South Carolina, and my uncle, if they got their garden going on, I'm be like going right up in their freezer, be like, okay, what you got? Because they be hunting for venison, which is deer. So I'm gonna be raiding to see what they got going on. I'm gonna make sure I bring my little cooler so I could go up there, grocery shop right there in the backyard, and be like, oh, where's the kale? Because last year when I went to South Carolina, and my grandmother was like, come on here and get some kale. I said, no, I gotta go. And then my uncle said, why you tell Teresa to go and get some of this kale at this backyard? No, I regretted it. I regretted it not going to that backyard and got that kale, fresh kale. Now when I come back to Georgia, I was like, oh man, I should have got that dang kale because Because I was like, I ain't got no freezer at the time. I ain't got no space to put it. But this time around, let my uncle say he got kale in the backyard or they got collard greens. I'm gonna be like, choop choop, chop my, I'm sure we'll go back to Georgia with some fresh vegetables. I sure will. I'm gonna do that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna talk to my grandmother and see if she'll let me get the little patch in the garden and start growing cucumbers and tomatoes because I know that land hasn't been growing that, but it grows really good. I remember growing up, we had cucumbers, tomatoes, okra, corn, pigs, muscadine grapes. My uncle, the other one, has muscadine grapes. Ooh, I miss some muscadine grapes. I was driving back from Stockbridge in the back roads today, and I saw a sign that says muscadine grapes between 2 and 6. Pick your own muscadine grapes. And I should have turned on that little corner just to see, but I don't think they was doing it that day. But I was like, dang. If y'all don't know what muscadine grapes are, it's those big grapes. You see them in green and purple, and it's big. Some people call it big grapes, but those are muscadine. Ooh, I had got me some. I had saw some muscadine grapes at the Sprouts Farmers Market yesterday, but it was a little package. I said, what the hell are these little packages? Where's the big? I was like, oh. But I know somebody around the corner. They used to have a muscadine vine tree. So if I see that sign again, I know this is in Henry County. I ain't going back over there, but I know someone up the street. They had a muscadine vine yard, and I grew up some. I threw some seeds out of my backyard. Thought I was going to get me some muscadine grapes, but it takes at least 10 years to grow into a field like that. But my uncle, they got a muscadine grape. I'm sure we'll be going back over there. Food tastes so different now than it did before. You could make a dish, season it, and it still won't taste. No, you ain't tripping because it's true. Food tastes now than what it was. It is totally different. Tomatoes. I remember I used to love tomatoes and okra, and it was made from scratch. Stewed tomatoes and okra, and you could eat it with rice or grits or by itself. Some people do it, put sausage. What they call that? What's that thing? New Orleans. Um, yeah, like you could do okra tomatoes. It ain't the same. It don't taste the same. Even the way those tomatoes you see in the store, that don't taste the same. I could have tested that. I may be 50 something now, but I remember picking up a tomato for my grandmother from that backyard. You can eat it right from the backyard. You ain't gotta rinse it off because you ain't gotta worry about it was chemicals. And that tomato, you could bite into the tomato, and it was so delicious. That's tomato you pick at the store. It don't taste like that. It do not taste like that. Even apples. I used to go apple picking up in New York, up in upstate New York. The apples had juice. You pick it, eat into an apple, it was juicy. All that water came out of it. It had all that fruit, pears. My great grandparents' land, they had pears. And they used to go up there and like, oh, look at that big pear. They used to pick it off the tree and eat it. It had all that nice juiciness because it was water. You didn't have to. You got your water through fruits and vegetables. You drink water, but in terms of like you eat enough fruit and vegetables, when food the way it was back in the day, you got your nutrients from the fruit and vegetables you eat. Water in the content of those foods was in the food. Now, you buy a bag of apples and you bite into an apple, it don't taste. You don't see juiciness coming out of that apple. Those apples were stored in a warehouse for years, and when they pack them up, ship them to the store, that's not fresh crop of the apples that came from a tree that you could pick. Those are in the factory that's been on a barrel for years that they just put up in the bag and then ship them to the. That's it. It ain't the same. But I sure do miss apple picking and going to the garden and picking fruit and vegetables and You know, I miss those that I miss those days. Crackhead, what are you talking about? You say years, so you got eyeballs in your face. What that mean? You need to change your avatar. That's ugly. That picture of your avatar, you need to, you need a more happy avatar or something. That don't look cute. That ain't cute. Next thing you come on here, change your name to Willie. Don't remind yourself of being a crackhead. Put yourself with a nice avatar, or better yet, put your real picture on there or something. I know the ones who do YouTube channels, they put their picture on there. The ones who just want to listen and be subscribers, y'all don't put your picture on there. But but you need a different picture. I don't like that. That's too monstrous. I'm just saying. Uh-oh. Time for me to take my medication and after that I'll be going to sleep. So I've been on here for an hour and 16 minutes. I wasn't here earlier, so I've been giving y'all 2 for 1 today of entertainment. But yeah, me going that back road today, y'all, to Stockbridge and McDonough, and took that back way from Stonecrest Mall. It was so pretty out there. At one point, I was near this big old lake. Well, first I went past Arabian Mountain, which is also a path to get you to Panola State Park. I used to walk that path all the time. Well, not all the time, but I did that a few years ago. So I'm going to start walking the path again during the daytime, not at night, because it's really kind of off the beaten path. So I don't want to be in that areas where it could be a little bit not safe. I mean, it's not dangerous, but I don't want to be in that seclusion like that. But it's real pretty. And I was driving through that back way, and going to the back way, it's not as developed, but it was like real pretty. I think at one point it was like a big old lake that I saw. I said, man, this is pretty. I wish I had a camera that could show. I would have showed y'all what it looked like when I was driving up in that areas, and that it was like these horses and these all this land, and people had these horses. I said, oh, it's so pretty. I want me a horse. But I would like to have that, but I don't. I would have to learn how to ride a horse. I only ridden a horse twice in my life, but it's been a minute since I've ridden a horse, and it was like at a dude ranch and stuff like that. But just to have my own horse and ride it, that takes a lot of practice. That ain't as easy as you thought, as you think it is. It's not. It's kind of a little bit more challenging to do that, It's not as easy as you think riding a horse. But I like horses, and I liked the area. It was so pretty. I was like, oh man, if I wanted to buy this land, it was too much for one person. I would have surely had loved to live out there like that. But I said, nope, I could barely manage this 0.5 acres that I got. So ain't no point in me wanting to get something that big. Now, if I had other people with me, I probably would. But it was so pretty. That's why so many of this land, you could build on the land with your own vegetables and fruit. And y'all remember that girl who sings she used to date, or she was married to Mace, bringing milkshake to the yard. I went to the yard. That her, what's her name? Khalees. Yeah, I was watching a YouTube video of hers, and she has a huge, humongous land up in California. Her and her new husband, and she had raised her own vegetables and fruit trees, and she started manufacturing different sauces and stuff because she went to cooking school, culinary school, and she developed a whole business um, from her farm. And it was so pretty. It was up there in California, though. I was like, man, that would be something I would have done if I had land like that. I would have manufactured different things like sauces and stuff like that. I would do it. I really would. If I had vast land like that, I was telling some. I was trying to see if my cousins and I, and when my grandparents passed the land on, it probably go to my aunts and uncles first, and before we see any of it. But I was like, dang, we should start a family business manufacturing different types of things on this land. All this land, and don't have nothing and not do anything with it. It used to be done things with it when my grandfather was alive, and my grandparents, they had were farmers, and they would sell fruit, vegetables, and stuff to the market. When they had black farmers, back in the day when they had farms, small farmers. I was telling this to Shelly. I'll try to explain this to her. When they had small farmers here in the United States, they produce corn and all kind of things. Those were small farmers back in the day. And when fruit, but then when these big companies took over to manufacture the food here in the United States, these quick meals and all that stuff, those are companies. Those are not small, the small farmers, they were not getting paid from these big companies to supply that. So they got squeezed out. Some of them had family farms for years, even white folks, you know, when they all had family land, and they had their own businesses selling like chicken. Let me give you an example. When people had chicken and they would produce chickens, and they be in contract with Tyson and Purdue and some of these big chicken manufacturers. They, you have to look at the documentaries, and they weren't really being fair with these contracts with how they treated these farmers. Now, can you imagine when white folks were complaining, white farmers were complaining about it? Can you imagine what black people, black farmers had to go through? Tenfold. So I'm just using chicken as an example. So you had a chicken farm raising chickens, then you basically was the producer and sell it to Purdue or Tyson Farms or one of those. They not farms. They don't really have farms. Those are farmers of small farmers, and a lot of them became in debt. A lot of them wasn't making the money like they were making. Tyson Farms and all Purdue and all that stuff. Those are factories that get chickens from farmers, but they have to pay. They try to squeeze them out. So now, with all the shortages of chicken, I don't understand how you sell chicken thighs, legs, but you don't have no wings. Why is that? The last time I checked, chicken has two legs, two wings, a breast, two breasts, chicken neck, and what else I'm missing on the thighs? Thighs, legs, breasts, wings. If you have a chicken, why there's a shortage of chicken legs? No, why is there a shortage of chicken wings if chickens has two legs? So if you have a chicken, you cut them up. Last time I checked, you cut them up. You got two wings, and you got two legs in the breast and the chicken neck and the little chicken butt. Little butt. You know, so what happened to the wings? I know wings will be popular because people, they like, the chicken wings because it's about supply and demand. But where, I see other parts of chicken and you don't and you start not. If you ain't gonna see no chicken, you wouldn't see no chicken at all. Now I'm not saying there's abundance of whole chickens because they're still there, but you still have chicken, whole chicken. You just cut it up. Ain't no point buying chicken parts, thighs and stuff. If you um buy chicken thighs, you don't have to get it skinless or get just get the whole chicken. Just get the I saw Publix got not Publix, Kroger got a sale. If they still got it, it was $6.49 for chicken quarters, which was the thighs and the legs. And it was like a big bag. And I said, if I see that tomorrow, when I go to the new Kroger, because I want to go to the new Kroger, I'm gonna buy me some chicken thighs. Even though I don't like chicken quarters, I don't really too much care for chicken quarters. But at this point, I'm gonna need to buy me some more chicken, and I do want to buy me some turkey legs. I'm gonna buy them now when I go to Cab Farmers Market, and I think, well, I'm gonna go to the Cab Farmers Market, and then I'm gonna go to Kroger, the new Kroger, to buy other things. So, but I don't understand it. I don't. I mean, I'm not saying you're gonna see a whole lot of chicken thighs and a whole lot of chicken wings and legs and stuff because that's going up in price too. But I will buy it now because if the weather, because most of these issues is weather, especially with the Midwest and California and all these places. A lot of it has to do with weather when it comes to the supply. Because if the weather's bad, not just in the United States but worldwide, you're not starting to see a lot of things. So like rice, they said that in Asia they had so much issues with weather that they not having rice. Most rice comes from other Asian countries, and they holding on to the rice because they not shipping it out to other countries, particularly the United States. So they have to hold on because they having food shortages too, just like here in the United States. They having issues with pricing and shortages and stuff. So it's a worldwide thing with food, not just here. So, anywho, I'm about to go to bed now. Y'all ain't saying nothing. They have them apples years before it get to the store. Exactly. That's what I just said. Those apples are kept in a barrel somewhere in a warehouse. Those ain't fresh apples. Those apples ain't got not liquor juice. You eat bite to an apple, you're like, it ain't got no water coming out of that. But you know, there's a whole big difference between picking an apple off a tree and then tasting it and then buying them from a store. I miss going apple picking. But if you could go and find a farm that, I know I passed by a couple. They used to do strawberry farms back then when I used to go when you go to that Stockbridge and whatchamacallit, Stockbridge and McDonough. There used to be a strawberry patches that you used to go to that you could actually pick strawberries. I didn't even see that when I was driving. That's one thing I said, wait a minute. What happened to this thing? I knew there was a strawberry patch that you could go to, but I haven't even seen it. Maybe I didn't go further down the road, but I'm starting to see some development going on. So I said, okay. You used to be at one point, you used to go back there and you could pick fruit and stuff up there in Henry County and go into the back roads. So unless you grow your own in your own backyard, that's the only way you'll get anything. So I guess I'm gonna try this fall and do me a little something in the back tomorrow. I think my my little section. I think I tried to amend it. I think because I did put manure and some compost, and I need to buy me some couple more bags of dirt and try to put that thing, mix it. I don't know. I'm gonna try to do some container gardening, but it takes a lot to maintain when you do container gardening versus sowing in from this ground. So I'm gonna do my little thing tomorrow. See, I got the seeds out. I already got the seeds already on what I'm gonna put. So hopefully I'll get me some kind of something tomorrow. I hope I can get something tomorrow. But I think when I go to the Cap Farmers Market, I'm gonna see if I could get me one of those. When they start cutting up that collard greens, if you take the stem, don't throw the stem away. You could do this. You don't have to have no yard. You don't have to have no house to do no garden. You could do a pot. You could start off with a one big pot, and you could do container gardening right from an apartment. You could do it right there in a compartment. You don't need no house. You could just do, little container gardening, and you could do and start from there. So, anyways, hopefully y'all like my little commentary today, but I'll be on tomorrow and see what else I'm gonna talk about. Give y'all some updates in the situation. And one last thing, and then I'll go. I say the U.S. Census is hiring again, not to take the census, but it was something else. So I got the application a couple weeks ago, but they sent an email saying that they were hiring for field supervisors for the census. So you could go on usajobs.gov, see what kind of government positions they got going on. And I guess I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. All right. All right, crackhead Willie, make sure you change your picture. Don't come on here tomorrow with that ugly picture again. I'm tired of looking at it. That is very ugly. I don't like it. You could change your name, just edit, don't put formally. Just don't speak on that. If you were a crackhead, put yourself something new. Don't put formally. That ain't, you don't want to remind yourself when you used to be a crackhead. That ain't cute. That ain't. Mm-mm. All right, Shelly Shell. I'm gonna call you Willie, but take off formerly known as and just drop that. Put something else. All right, DJ du jour, Sally, These Nuts. At one point, it was a lot of y'all in here. Let me see who are in here. Vicky, maybe David watching. Who else? All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night. Talk to y'all tomorrow.